So my next guest has arrived, Lauren Best. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, Rose. How are you doing?
Very well. I'm very well. Thank you for being here today. And
thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to hear your topic today. Lauren's going to be discussing with us finding comfort in the unknown by upgrading your mindset. And Lauren supports solopreneurs and creative entrepreneurs to design new ways of working by setting up and building upon the foundations that will empower them to enjoy more authenticity, freedom, and simplicity in their lives and businesses. Through her expertise as a business experience designer and certified hypnotherapist, she collaborates with clients to help them move through the noise of what they think they should be doing to a place of taking confident and easeful action that feels so incredibly good. Simply put, she helps people experience alignment with their mindsets and the action they want to take so that they genuinely enjoy sharing their genius zones with the people who need it most. Lauren, I don't know, did you have a slide presentation or are we just having a bit of a chat today?
I did not. We're just going to have a chat and we're going to see where the wind blows us and, and where we end up. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so tell me about mindset. You know, how did you get to become what you're doing now, and you know, where you started, how you became what you have become, and you know why is mindset so important?
Yeah, I love that you started with this question because when I found hypnosis, I've been a certified hypnotherapist for over a year now. And before that, I was a trained designer when it comes to like communication design, visual design, product and furniture design, even service design, like all different types of modalities of design. And what I was doing before, what I'm doing now is I was working as a service designer and business transformation consultant. And I was over in Singapore and I was doing that. And I loved the work that I was doing. The environment was not good for me. It wasn't necessarily the best place or company for me, perhaps.
Yep.
And I was over in Singapore, and then, you know, fast forward to the pandemic, beginning of the pandemic, you know, and we went into really crazy lockdown over in Singapore. And I was really, really struggling just mentally to keep my head above water, being in isolation all on my own, my family back over in Canada. And so it didn't, you know, I didn't last many more months after that. And fast forward to August 2020, and I found myself back in Canada in my childhood bedroom that I hadn't lived in. Like I had lived in the UK before moving over to Singapore, no intentions of going back to Canada anytime soon. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky to be back, you know, at home with my family, but really unexpectedly and with more uncertainty than I knew what to do with at that point. And, you know, it was a lot of uncertainty for the world at that point too. And I thought, okay, I need to like figure out my mental health because first off, I've just gone through some really huge life-changing things on top of a global pandemic. And, you know, I can't even envision myself going back to a 9-to-5 job, working 40 plus hours a week for someone else and potentially in an environment that wasn't going to really support my, you know, the healing I needed to do, or would really be able to identify or acknowledge my superpowers and the things that really allowed me to do what I do very well, but in the way that is me. So I went on this journey of thinking, okay, I've always wanted to start my own business. I had studied business, you know, the first thing out of high school, that's what I went to study in college and university. And so it was always this thing in the back of my head, like eventually I'll be an entrepreneur. And then it was like, okay, what about right now? This might be my chance right now to figure it out. I have this comfort bubble of, you know, being back at home with my family. And so I thought, okay, I've designed so many businesses for other people. I've helped people reinvent their services, design their service experiences, anywhere from, you know, brand new startups to medium like small, medium enterprises, government level. So I thought this will be a piece of cake. Surely, like I can just whip together all these strategies that I have designed with other people, customize it to me, and like things should be fine and dandy. And then it was like these loops that I kept getting stuck in when it came to even, talking to people or figuring out, who it is I want to talk to, what kind of services of all these things that I love to do, because I felt like, I am a multifaceted individual. And I just kept getting stuck in all these loops of not really putting myself out there. And if I did, like nothing would come of it, or I would have these wonderful workshops, but then that would be it. And there wasn't really ways that I was telling people how they could pay me, or I wasn't really like niching down like everyone told me I had to do. I was finding a lot of confusion around everything. So I thought, okay, something needs to change here. Like I'll try anything at this point. So I went to a summit, which is why I think summits are so wonderful. I went to this online summit, and I think my mom had recommended to me, and I saw this hypnotherapist there, and I thought, okay, I don't really know what it's about. I'm kind of seeing it for the first time online in practice outside of Hollywood, TV shows and all of that. So I thought, okay, I'll try it. So I met with this hypnotherapist and was like, I have all these mindset blogs. I can't seem to design my own business. I've done it a billion times for other people. Like, what's going on? And it was this process of like unraveling, all these old stories that I had either learned as a child that weren't mine, or these new stories I started to take in this toxic work environment that I was previously in, and all these limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome and all that. So there is much more in like there than I anticipated that I started to work through. And I just, after a few sessions even realized like the jumps that I made in only a few sessions was like more than I had made in months trying this on my own. Like this is, almost like a little missing puzzle piece that I've been looking for that I can't design my way out of, because really my mindset was what was stopping me from having the perfect design strategy. So I was coaching some clients at the time and had been working with my hypnotherapist to work on my own mindset issues. And a few months after that, my hypnotherapist also trains other hypnotherapists and was doing a training specifically for coaches to use hypnotherapy in their practice, whether it's life coaching or business coaching, any type of coach. Really, teaching us those mindset tools that she had been using with us so that we could use it with our own clients. So I was still in this space at the time that was kind of like a fight or flight stage. Like I was really still getting myself back up to that ground zero. And so I said yes when I was still really uncertain with what the heck I was doing, or what type of work I was offering, or who my niche was, like all of that. I really didn't have it figured out. And to be honest with you, I don't now either. Things are different in so many different ways, but now I'm okay with maybe not having all those answers, where before it was like debilitating. I wasn't able to take action in the ways that felt good. So I ended up becoming certified to be a hypnotherapist, and started integrating that into my work with some of my coaching clients who were solopreneurs. And I really started to just really prove to my own self that I can trust myself. Like hypnotherapy taught me more than anything to be present, to ask the right questions and guide people, and not know all the answers and not have to know all the answers. So as much as it was helping, I was now helping other people, that was really helping me. And it still helps me reinforce, that it's okay to not know everything, and uncertainty is always going to be there, which is why I just love this summit that you're sharing this idea of, we can future proof ourselves. But what I want to come in here and shake things up a bit and say is like, we might not know all the answers all the time, and it's going to be okay, and we can trust ourselves. And for me, it was really building my self-trust back to this place now where it's not even back, it's like even more than it's ever been. So it really is, just embedding that into myself, into my business, helping my clients do the same thing. So it's fun that I get to show up and use hypnotherapy as a tool, as well to help people, because it's a tool, it's a self-development tool that I think can really allow us to, enter our minds in a way where we can surpass that critical mind that's telling us no, 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 or you have to have this figured out, or but this, or because this, we can't do something this way, whatever it may be. So it just really allows us to connect to this beautiful part of our subconscious mind and rewrite our stories, challenge our limiting beliefs, say goodbye to the beliefs we don't want to carry with us, and rewrite our own narratives and our own mindsets that will allow us to really unlock that potential within ourselves.
It's a journey.
Yes.
As business owners, definitely, mindset is so important. And without the right mindset, if you're always negative about stuff, you'll never achieve anything. And having a positive mindset is, so very important. But hypnotherapy, a lot of us think of it as, what we see on the telly, where they, they could be a chook or a, do silly things. But hypnotherapy really isn't like that at all. Could you just explain the process about, what hypnotherapists, the ones that are clinically trained, not the others, what they do to help with getting people over those little hurdles that, keeping them stuck?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing when kind of introducing this topic of hypnosis to people really is dispelling a lot of those myths that you kind of mentioned about, having control over people, or, having this ability to, make people do things. And the one thing I just love to share up front with people, like as one of the very first things is, my job as a hypnotherapist or any other hypnotherapist is really to take you to such a deep, relaxing place of comfort and a knowingness that you can trust yourself. You are in control of the experience. And like we see this example all the time of, and people ask me this all the time, like, if are you going to make me, like, are you going to turn me into a chicken? And it's like this perfect example, like we always see in pop culture or online or whatever it may be. And I am happy to report that I cannot make anyone turn into a chicken unless you've like always dreamt of being a chicken. Like it's just not possible. And ethically, I would never do that, or the person you're working with should never do that. But even if they did, like, again, unless you always wanted to be a chicken, you're not going to jump up on your chair and balk like a chicken, because even in hypnosis, even once we surpass that critical mind and, relax into such a deep place physically and mentally to surpass the critical mind while in hypnosis, if there is anything that comes up that perhaps you wouldn't, or a suggestion from myself that you wouldn't naturally do even out of hypnosis, you're never going to say like, yes, I want that thing, or yes, I, want to do that. Our minds can definitely surprise us when it comes to, for me, I'm here to ask you and guide you by asking the right questions, or questions that will allow you, your mind to really just, your subconscious mind to come to the forefront and surpass the barrier that our critical mind can have sometimes when it's always trying to solve problems and tell us yes or no. But the beauty in that is that you can surprise yourself sometimes. Like your subconscious mind every single time in hypnosis will show you exactly what it is that you're meant to either visualize or feel or experience. And it might be different than what you expected, but it's always, your mind is always going to show you or tell you exactly what it is you need to hear or experience. And I have people who come to me and say, I have a fear around, talking or putting myself out there. That's a very common one. And that's something I dealt with as well, which was like, I have a fear of putting myself out there. And it's my job to take you to a place and in hypnosis, guide you back to, that first time that perhaps you had the first time you remember not feeling, courageous or scared, or were shamed for putting yourself out there, whatever it may be, or, really visualizing or feeling that fear. And it's still my job to say, like, are you ready to let go of this? Because that's a big thing people are worried about. Do I have to tell you all my secrets, and do I have to let everything go? And the answer is absolutely not. And perhaps you shouldn't, like, especially if we're just working together for the first time, it gets to be your experience. I'm here to help you, like, ask those questions, like, are you sure you're ready to release this? And you might end up saying, no, actually, I have this barrier for a reason, and I want to keep it right now. I don't want to face this, but let's look at this. So it really gets to be your narrative and where you go with things, but it can be an experience of untangling things that we had no idea were connected to begin with, and really can become these layers of, like I mentioned, kind of protective armor of things that we, from experience or because someone has told us that we shouldn't talk so much. That's a really common thing I see as well, especially with women who are afraid to put themselves out there, is they've likely heard, you talk too much, or your voice is annoying. And that same thing is something that I had to work through. And I see a lot of women in business who are, especially solopreneurs, who are really wanting to begin talking about their work or scaling up their business, but they have that fear. So we can really, if someone's ready or interested to even investigate, we can look at, where that comes from, and take your power back and just really rewrite that story in a way that's going to support you to go after those goals and go after that action that you truly do want to take, without feeling that fear and that hesitancy and those barriers that are really stopping us from putting ourselves out there. Oh, Rose, you're just on mute.
Sorry, I got carried away. We often limit ourselves by closing off our minds, and we have all these limiting beliefs about ourselves that really are often unfounded. So does hypnotherapy help us overcome those barriers?
Absolutely. So there's two ways to reprogram negative beliefs. The first is, looking at them each individually and, like, going through the work to reprogram them one by one. And what hypnosis can do is actually, like I mentioned, like those layers, and we have these stories that are connected that we might not know about. It allows us to kind of look at all of those limiting beliefs or negative beliefs, maybe not all at once, but maybe more than one at the same time, and really allow ourselves to rewrite these beliefs a lot faster than having to rewrite each unique belief through repetition. So when it comes to rewriting a single belief or reprogramming our minds, repetition is, the best way outside of hypnosis. But allowing yourself to go through that process of hypnosis allows us to kind of fast track things and rewrite things in a way that's going to allow us to, step into the next version of ourselves sooner and sooner. And another thing around that as well that I love to share with people, like, and it's a hack I want to share. If you know already what your beliefs are, because sometimes we don't know where our fear is coming from or why or what our beliefs are. So if you are able to check in with yourself and really identify what those negative beliefs are, a great way to write affirmations, it's like a brain hacking process that my hypnotherapist taught me that I love to teach to my clients as well, is like handcraft, like really customized affirmations that are so specific to you that leave no doubt for your subconscious mind to question anything. Because sometimes when we don't have that track record and that proof, it can be really hard to say, I am a millionaire if I haven't yet made $1 million. But if we write something like, my dream clients show up easily and effortlessly and pay me with, they see my value and they pay me with ease, whatever it may be. If we can come up with usually three is the sweet spot of these really custom affirmations, and we handwrite them before we go to bed. That is such a great way to hack your brain, because it's the last thing that your subconscious mind will actively do before you do go to bed, so that it'll allow you to reprogram your mind as you go to sleep. So just a little brain hacking activity for those who are watching as well. Yeah.
Something, I always try to have a positive affirmation before I go to bed. I don't know that it works, but we'll time will tell. Because I think you've got to practice them a little bit, and I think it takes a few days before they kick in. So you need to repeat it every single night.
Yeah, and sitting with the feeling of what that would give you, to have clients like showing up effortlessly, or like visualizing what it would feel like to even see your bank account like go up in numbers, or even visualizing what it would feel like when money's going out of your bank account, knowing that it'll come back in. Like, just having this, I think this is a big mindset struggle that I see a lot. And again, I went through and constantly do revisit, is this investment in ourselves, especially as business people, and knowing that, if someone's just starting a business, you might not be as familiar with making investments in coaches or in, different experts that are going to design your website or whatever it may be. And so making those investments can feel really scary, because it's money going out of your bank account and isn't necessarily going to be like right away or the same day or tomorrow result in that money coming back. So sitting with this idea that, whatever money I put out into the world and invest in myself and my business with, like, that will come back to me in tenfolds, and really mentally like sitting with this idea of, and even anytime you like buy a coffee or you tap your card and you're like, okay, I'm paying for this coffee or this tea that I love, like, it brings me so much happiness and a positive, feeling. So I know investing even in this little coffee or tea is just going to allow me to, show up better for my clients, show up for myself, give myself that break that I so deserve, so that I can show up within my work in a better way, and therefore bring in more of that money. Like, this money I'm spending can and will come back to me in threefolds or tenfolds, or however many, whatever number feels good to start with. You could start with 2. Like, when I spend this money on this coffee, it'll come back to me like in double, whatever. And you can work your way up to more and more. Once you kind of see it happening, then perhaps more is a good indicator to move towards. But starting with that feeling of what it would feel like, and that's in hypnosis, again, like, you get to experience what it would feel like before you like physically see it, and it allows our minds to say, like, look, this is already happening for us. I don't need like the proof for like the last 5 years of my life. Like, I feel it now, and that's where the shift really can happen.
Yeah. So I guess, before we finish up today, what are some mindset hacks that, we could all take on board, and, that are, easy to implement?
Yeah, I think, what I just shared is really important, is, with those affirmations, customizing them to you and having them be things that you can maybe even have experienced already, like in conjunction to the ones that you haven't yet, so that you can still pull upon that feeling of already experiencing what it is you want to experience more of, or experience in the first place. So definitely, like, there are so many great hypnosis audios that even I've created on YouTube or on Insight Timer. I put more on there, but there's so many, like, even if you Google on YouTube or look on YouTube, different hypnosis audios for, self-care or self-trust or whatever you're looking for a little bit more of in your life, that can be a good place to start in terms of just allowing your mind to rewire, or writing those affirmations, allowing your mind to rewire. But I think a big thing can be this idea, and especially around uncertainty, this idea of I don't know I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if my, business is going to be like, I'm going to see the success I want in my business, or I don't know if, this niche is right, whatever it may be that you're uncertain about. And this can be a longer shift, but I think it's one so worth working towards, is this idea of finding more comfort in the uncertainty. And a way you can do that is really check in with yourself when you are making certain decisions in your business, to check in with yourself and see, like, and just even asking yourself, giving yourself that space to like have quiet, close your eyes for a minute and say, like, am I making this decision based on fear? Or is it a decision that I would like to make because my intuition is telling me, like, let's try this out, let's see what is possible? Because it's often, and I've made this mistake, it's not even a mistake, but I've made this choice in the past, even this year, where I thought, okay, I've been hosting these group hypnosis sessions for the past however many months. Naturally, the next progression would be for me to offer a membership somewhere where I can get consistent income, because what I really wanted was consistent income. And my fear was like, you have to do this now or never. Like, this is it. And I really closed my mind off from thinking of other possibilities. After sitting with it a little bit and also noticing how I was procrastinating on certain things, it was like I had to check myself to be like, is this a fear-based decision you're trying to force? Or is it something that you really are excited about and really want to do and look forward to? So asking such a small question can have such a different impact in the way we take action. And it's not to say that I had the next step figured out of what I would do instead of a membership. Like, I'm still working through that, but now I'm experimenting. I'm talking to my existing clients, putting myself in new spaces where I can bridge different ideas for the gaps that I'm seeing, that I can support people with my own skill set. So just really being open to different opportunities that you weren't even expecting, or perhaps were out of the natural progression of what it looks like you should be doing in your business, can just be so profound and so impactful, not only for your business, but just your own happiness, your own well-being. So checking in, asking specific questions can be a really big game changer for our mindsets as well.
Yeah, it's really important to question your language. Quite often, we often, say negative things to ourselves, and we aren't mindful of the language that we're using to ourselves, and that has a very powerful impact on our mindset. Our subconscious is always listening. So
Yes.
we need to be more careful about how we speak to ourselves, because otherwise it just has a negative impact on our whole life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why like positive affirmations work, and also negative affirmations work, because our minds don't, like, our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference of if it's really happened. Or that's why visualization also plays such a great role in hypnosis or reprogramming the mind, because if we visualize or imagine something, and that's why daydreaming as well is like so impactful. And the more you're like finding yourself distracted daydreaming, like, embrace it. But our subconscious minds don't know if it's something that's happened to us or is happening to us or is like completely make believe. But if we put these thoughts in our head or say these things out loud, like, it's registered, right? Our mind is absorbing everything. So definitely being careful about, who it is you're listening to. Because I'm very much someone who is highly suggestible. And, if I hear different suggestions or ideas from different people, I now have to do a much better job of sitting with it and realizing, like, is that idea mine? Was it theirs? Whose was it? Is it my intuition, or is it the advice of other people who may be highly intelligent or really good at what they do, but perhaps that same advice or experience isn't going to resonate with me or isn't easily applied to my business or my reality? So really what you consume and who you're around and even what you watch can be really, really impactful.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I guess, Lauren, where can people find you if they want to work with you, or indeed, just find out more about what you have to offer?
Yeah, so you can visit my website, which is lauren-best.com. There you can find a beautiful, actually, I would recommend everyone find this because it is perfect for the topic of the summit as well, is I have a free hypnosis audio called Dreaming During Uncertainty, and it will guide you through a beautiful hypnosis visualization that will allow you to experience hypnosis and also visualize a life you love during such uncertain times. So that is something I would definitely encourage everyone to sign up for and snag that free audio. Another place where I share hypnosis audios or guided reflection questions is over on Insight Timer, and my handle over there is at @LaurenBest_co, and you can find me on Instagram, that same handle. I post lots of stuff over on LinkedIn, which you can find me just by searching my name at Lauren Best. And then I send out a beautiful monthly love letter to your inbox if you subscribe to my newsletter, as well as other, live hypnosis events or beautiful summits like this. So definitely get on the newsletter, because anything new within my realm, whether it's, thoughts about hypnosis or the mind or taking action or checking in with your intuition, any events will all go out through there. So definitely have a look over on my website for links to all those different places. I know it's a lot, so.
Absolutely. Go and check out the lovely Lauren, because she has a lot to offer and she's an amazing human, and it's such a pleasure being in her proximity. Lauren, I'm putting everyone on the spot today. If you had some words of wisdom to share with our audience, what would they be?
I would say, listen to your instincts. Even in answering this question, I didn't want to let myself think about it too much, because often our minds already know within the first few seconds of being asked a question or, engaging in a certain environment or with a certain person. Like, listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, what your instincts, whatever it may be, because you know what you want. It's all inside of us. We just need to give ourselves that chance to really listen to ourselves, to know what's going to be best for us. So that's my answer.
Absolutely. I really love that. That's really great, because I quite often make my decisions from my heart or my gut or my intuition rather than using my head.
Yes.
And I get into a lot of trouble because I haven't really thought it through, and I think, well, the details will come later. Just do it now and work out the details afterwards.
I love that. Like, we don't always need to know the how, and sometimes we don't even need to know the why. But if we listen to our hearts and our guts and our intuition, like, yes, everything else will fall into place. Perhaps even things like even better than what we imagine. So I love that you do that. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Lauren, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak today. And I look forward to talking to you again really, really soon.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rose. And thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was the lovely Lauren Best. My goodness, isn't she an amazing person, and so full of information, and she's just such a pleasure to speak. Just the sound of her voice is very soothing. Now, next